Hi everyone, I'm back again, and I'm going to be discussing the brushes that I use. Now, I definitely have more than my fair share of brushes. I tried to pick just my favorites, but there's still probably 20 of them I feel are the necessities. They're really more than the necessities, but I tried to cut down my selection, but it's so hard because all the brushes have a different function, and I'm a really, really big advocate for brushes. The little applicator things that they give you for free inside of little makeup compacts are just such garbage, and they're impossible to work with, and if you can just invest in a nice brush set, they'll last you for years if you take care of them. So speaking of taking care of them, it's really important to clean them in between each use. Some people use like rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle. I personally don't. I feel like that might ruin the brushes. I use Sephora actually sells a brush cleaner, so does Bare Essentials, and Elf does too, but Elf is always sold out of it, so I can never order it from them. So yeah, make sure you clean between each use, and then every week or two shampoo the brushes, and a lot of companies make brush shampoo, or you can just use regular shampoo to wash them out, but definitely make sure that you take care of them and they will last you for years. So I'm going to start with some face brushes that I really, really love, and the first one is an all-over face brush. This one, there you go, you can see it a little bit better. This is from Bare Minerals. It is their full flawless face brush. It says so right on the handle. And this is really nice. It doesn't have to be Bare Minerals. For Bare Minerals, their brushes are the best. Other brushes don't work. I've tried it. But if you're just looking for an all-over face brush, it doesn't have to be this. If you're using another product, I love this. It's obviously great for all-over coverage, loose powder, pressed powder. If you have a mineral foundation, it's fantastic for it. So I really, really like this brush. The next brush is this, and I believe this is just called the Flawless Face. This is also by Bare Minerals. They just decided to make this funky little brush line with black and pink, and I love those colors, so my mother actually bought this for me for Christmas. And you can see the head of it isn't super large. I really like to use this you can use it for blush. I think it's a little large for blush. So I like to use it as a contour. So right underneath my cheekbones, I'll use this, and on the sides of my nose and here. So I'll use this for like a bronzer if I'm not putting it all over my face. Sorry, I'm trying to go kind of quick because I have a lot. The next is foundation brush, a liquid foundation brush. A lot of people like to use a stipple brush, which I also really like. I prefer a brush to wedges just because you get a more even application, and people tend to reuse the wedges, and there's so much bacteria on them, and you can't keep them clean, and it just really grosses me out. So I prefer a foundation brush. This one's from Chanel, but you can get a much cheaper one. It doesn't have to be from Chanel. And then I also have a little concealer brush, and this is from Bare Minerals, and it's a fabulous concealer brush, but any type of concealer brush will do. They make little tiny ones, they make fat ones, whatever size you need. I like to use it for underneath the eyes and around the nose. Love concealer brush. My final face brush is a blush brush, and this is also part of the Bare Minerals neat little color collection. It has really a tiny head to it. I also really like an angled blush brush. Doesn't really matter to me, but super important for blush. If you use too big of a brush, you can't control it. It's much easier to have a small brush and be able to really work it in the shape that you want instead of just a giant one that you can't control. So now moving on to the eyes, I'm a really big eye brush person, So I definitely have a lot, and I'm going to show you some of my favorites. I had to leave some out, but there's still tons. Okay, so the first one, and I have brushes from all over the place. Some are Bare Minerals, some are Sephora, some are MAC, all over the place. So don't mind all the different collections. There's tons of brush lines, eye brushes you can get away with, the cheaper brands a lot of the times. I've been fortunate enough where people buy me brushes a lot, so I have tons of them. This first one is from Sephora, and it's just a big fluffy eye brush, and it's really nice for just your all over shadow color, just to kind of pat that shadow onto the lid. Let's see what's next here. This is from Bare Minerals, and this is their Wet Dry Shadow Brush, and it's just really compacted bristles, and it's meant to be used wet and dry. You can use shadows wet and dry with any brush, but this one is meant specifically for it, and they have this technique called foiling where you can wet some of their shadows and it gives it that really metallic look. This brush is amazing for that, so I always keep this one on hand. So my next important ones are crease brushes. So I have two that I really, really like, and even though they look the same, they're different. So this one's from the Sephora Pro series, and it's a rounded crease brush. And what I like about this is it's really hard to tell, but it actually is a pretty stiff point to it, and that's really nice for getting in the crease because you can get product right at that tip, and then the sides kind of just help blend it out. So I really like this, and then I also like this other one from Sephora, and it's more of like a dome crease brush, and I know they look, I'll hold the other one up next to it. I know they look really similar, but when you see them next to each other, you can kind of see this one's a lot fluffier. So I like to use this in the highlight areas, and it's a really nice blending brush, more so than a crease, or if I want a really light crease, I'll use something like this. So, let's see. Another brush that I really like is, this is a Sephora brand. It's number 18. I don't know what that means. I don't know what all the fancy numbers means, but I do know that it is a very compact, tight, bristled brush. I don't know if you can see, it's very thin point, very small, very compact, and I really use this on the crease because you can really just pat on and pack in the color. It's super important to have a brush like this to really get that color pigmentation that you want. I guess semi-similar is I have this brush, and it's from the Bare Essentials Rocker Eye collection, so it's double-ended. I love Bare Essentials double-ended brushes. So the first one is called the Rounded C Brush, and it's really, really short and stubby. It's really nice for blending in the crease. I don't use that end that much. The end that I really like is this, and it's actually a liner, and if you do the liner, if you do it wet on here, it gives you a really amazing cat eye. Absolutely incredible wet. I love it. So this is one of my favorite brushes. Another one of their double-ended ones, and this was one of the first brushes that I ever had from them. Made me fall in love with their brushes, is they have this basic shadow brush on the end for all over, and then they have this crease brush, and what I like about it is it's actually really tiny and tight. So if you're afraid, if those big brushes don't work for you, this is really nice to just get super close in that crease, or if you're worried about where you're putting the color, this one's really, really nice to have. Only a few more, I promise. So this brush is from Smashbox, and it's another double-ended. I think this is my last double-ended one, I promise. And this side is for brows, to fill in the brows, and then this is a flat liner brush. I almost never use the flat liner brush on this one. I don't know why. I'm not a huge flat liner brush person, but I definitely use this side for the brows all the time. So speaking of liners, my favorite liner brush, this brush used to be white, believe it or not, but it's just stained black over time. It's just a basic angled liner brush, and I feel like with the angle, you just get such nice control. You get that point for when you really need to get in close. I loved the angled liner. Every once in a while, I do have another flat liner, which, again, this was white. It's kind of stained black now. For if I need to get in really specific tight areas, but both of these are really nice. Just the angled one is it's probably my favorite. So when I am working with lines, if I want something a little bit more soft, I use this guy, and this is called a line diffuser, and it is so tiny. It's just this little stubby guy. The bristles are really packed tight together, and what that is it just helps smoke out some of the lines. It's really nice for underneath to kind of give you that smoky look if you don't want that liquid line. So definitely one of my favorites. And this is very similar to a pencil brush. It kind of looks like a lip brush as well. The bristles are very soft and pliable, but it's really nice for like right in the corner there just kind of moving the product down and in the corner up here as well. It doesn't have a super, ton of purposes, but I still really like it. Almost done, I swear. And then your classic lip brush. Lip brushes give you so much more precision, to the point where a lot of times you don't even need a lip liner, because when you're just throwing the gloss on, you can't get in those tight areas and lipstick. You can, it's just the point never stays, and it's impossible. So I always use a lip brush. Also, if you're doing makeup on other people, you don't want to be putting lipstick on everyone. So if you use the brush, then you can clean the brush and put it back on, and everything's safe and sanitary. I'm really big on that. And my last brush, I promise, is this guy, and this just helps groom your brows. Really simple. So I know that was really long. I tried to get through it as quick as possible, but I just wanted to show you guys kind of the basic brushes that I use and what I use them for. I have a ton more. I have probably triplicates, if not more, of everything. I have so many brushes, but those were kind of the basics. So if you have any questions on any of the brushes, or any tips or techniques, or want me to go over anything, please comment, and I will take it from there and answer all your questions. Thanks, guys. Bye.